Good morning. I still have my white box here. We are still in the season of Easter. I wonder if this might be a resurrection box. Oh boy, I know that it's heavier than it was last week. So maybe if we get a few of the things out, we can figure out, and it can help us figure out if this is a resurrection box. And maybe it'll help us figure out what a resurrection box is. This is a tomb. A tomb is a place where people were put when they died. Jesus died. He was placed in a tomb. But God made him alive again. And some of Jesus' friends, they headed out to the tomb early one morning, only to find the stone rolled away and the tomb was empty. But an angel appeared, and an angel said, "Don't be afraid, for he is risen. He is risen indeed." And one of the women, she stayed back at the tomb, and she actually saw Jesus, but she didn't recognize it was him, not until he said her name, Mary. And then she knew it was Jesus, and they shared the good news. And everyone wondered what had really happened. This is a road to Emmaus. On the same day that Mary went out to the tomb, and the same day that some of the other disciples went out to the tomb to see that it was empty, some friends of Jesus were on the road from Jerusalem to Emmaus. And as they journeyed, they were joined by someone. They didn't recognize who it was. Not until they got to the house in Emmaus, and they invited him in to join them for something to eat. And he took the bread, and he blessed it, and he broke it in two, and he shared it with them. It was then that their eyes were opened, and they recognized it was Jesus with them. And just as suddenly, he vanished. But the two friends were so excited, they returned to Jerusalem to share the good news. Now, back in Jerusalem, some of the friends of Jesus had been gathering in an upper room. Now, this upper room was locked, which means only the people that were inside could get there. And as they gathered together and they talked about the things that had happened, about Mary seeing the angel at the tomb, about the stone being rolled away. And they wondered together what had really happened. And while they gathered in the upper room, they were joined by someone. And he stood among them. And he talked to them, and he ate with them, and he listened to them. It was Jesus. They knew he was alive. And just as suddenly, he vanished. They were so excited, they shared this good news with Thomas. And about a week later, Thomas was in the upper room with the disciples when Jesus appeared again. And he said, "Peace be with you." And he spoke directly to Thomas, and he said, "Thomas, look at my wounds. Look at my scars. Touch them." But Thomas believed even though he did not touch Jesus. And Jesus vanished. Now one day, Peter said, "I want to go fishing." And so Peter and Thomas and 6 other disciples joined him on the long walk to the Sea of Galilee. And when they got to the Sea of Galilee, they all boarded a boat. Now, they had been to this sea before. They knew that there were fish here. And they got their net, and they cast the net out. All night long, they fished in the sea, casting their net out. But they never caught any fish. The net was always empty. And then early in the morning, just when the sun was coming up, Jesus appeared on the shore. But they did not recognize who it was. And he hollered out to them, "Have you caught any fish?" And they replied, "No, nothing." "Well, try casting your net on the right side of the boat." And no sooner had they done this than the net was full of fish. It was so full of fish, they couldn't even pull the net in. And when Peter realized it was Jesus on the shore, he jumped out of the boat and joined him on the beach. And the others pulled the boat in and counted all the fish that were in the net. There were 153 fish. Yet the net never broke. And they all joined at the beach, for Jesus had invited them for breakfast. He had built a campfire, and he was making them some cooked fish and bread. And when they shared the meal together, Jesus looked to Peter, and he said 3 times, he asked him, "Do you love me?" And Peter replied, "Yes, I do, Lord." "Then feed my sheep," Jesus said. "Follow me." Now, I wonder, how did they know it was Jesus on the beach? I wonder what it felt like for Simon Peter to hear the special words just for him, "Feed my sheep." I wonder how Peter felt. I wonder how all the disciples felt getting fed a meal by Jesus and being in his presence again.